This Friday, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan are back to switch things up in Disney's Freakier Friday.
Totally. Yes.
It's an absolute riot, and the only movie that can be described as
So much weirder than the last time.
What last time?
it's the frequel
You ready?
we've been waiting for.
That absolutely slays.
What deeply out of touch old person came up with that?
You did.
Wow.
Don't miss the comedy event of the summer for all ages. Disney's Freakier Friday in theaters this Friday. Get tickets now. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
It's Wednesday Addams. I see you're trying to distract yourself from your own banal thoughts. Let me help. Here's a recording thing made of my latest root canal.
Wednesday, Season 2, begins August 6th, only on Netflix.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso Virtuo Coffee Machines. Ready to enjoy the bold flavors of barista-quality Nespresso iced coffee at home? Simply fill a glass with ice and press the brew button on your Virtuo Pop machine to enjoy rich double espressos roasted to stand up even when chilled. Refreshingly bold iced coffee. Refreshingly easy to make at home. Visit Nespresso.com to shop now.
Pie in the Sky Media. This series contains adult language and descriptions of graphic violence throughout. Listener discretion is advised.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hello, welcome back, Criminal Mischief Nation, to another bonus episode of your favorite true crime podcast, Criminal Mischief with Branden, Carolyn and Branden. Okay.
Branden is coming in like super on fire. Testosterone.
Branden of the Carolyn and Branden, and joined, as always, by the great Carolyn Osorio. Carolyn, neither of us are in our normal offices. I'll say where I am if you say where you are.
What? Okay, I'm in Vegas. This is like some weird game. Okay.
I'm in Phoenix.
You say potato, and I'll say potato.
I am in Phoenix for a volleyball tournament. My daughters are travel volleyball players. And I'm also mixing in a little work. For a different show that I do, there are some kind of crazy, allegedly haunted places here in the desert that are legitimately spooky that I'm researching for another show. So I'm getting some work done, and obviously recording with you. And then by day, we're at the Phoenix Convention Center, and I'm trying to be a respectful volleyball parent. Sometimes successfully, sometimes less so, but no red cards.
Get another. I was gonna say, did you get another yellow card?
Nope, nothing. No cards at all this weekend. I've been fine. It's incredibly hot. I know it's obvious. We're here in Phoenix. I'd never been in a sandstorm before. One's happening right now out the window, and it's pretty interesting. But Phoenix is a beautiful city. I have some friends here. We had dinner the other night. We're having a really good time. Good time. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, we just flew into Vegas, and great flight. Great. But it's super hot here, and I'm such a weenie. I mean, I'm sitting like, give me my shade. My husband's like a rock star. He's like, so, he's taking my mom to Cirque du Soleil right now, and I'm sitting here with the boys, and we're just chilling. So happy to be here. Happy to do a little bit of work in between a little bit of fun. So
yeah, I hear you. Same. But let's get to it. This was I enjoyed this episode so much because, again, two different sides of the same story that are, I wouldn't say equally compelling. I have an opinion that we'll get to. But I really enjoyed seeing both sides of it. And then I also find it very frustrating that we don't know how it ends yet. So I like that. I like that you're leaving the opening for some more content down the line. And it's also fairly recently. It's only a couple of years ago that this went down.
It's only a couple of years ago, and the defense is making their case this week, and they think that the jury could have it could be in the jury's hands, by the end of the week. So, it's been going on since.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's get into this. So if
Mm-hmm.
so, we have a college professor and a police officer. Okay,
Yep.
they're
Mm-hmm.
dating,
Mm-hmm.
and first of all, there's another whole backstory about the tragedy surrounding the children,
I
how he
know.
wound up raising the kids, and look what they're going through now. How many parental figures are these fucking kids going to lose before they
I
turn 10?
know.
Right? It's
I know.
brutal. It's got to be. Oh my gosh, my heart breaks for those kids.
Well, and the
So
brother, I played a cut of the brother on the stand, and honestly, I couldn't even listen to his whole
mm,
testimony because it was just heart wrenching. Like the second he would talk about his sister, so it was the older sister who passed away. Like within 5 months, she got this horrendous diagnosis of this aggressive form of brain cancer, and
mm,
and she passed away. And so they were trying to figure out they were going to do. I don't know what the husband died of a couple of months later. I didn't look that up, and I don't even know if that's available. But bottom line is that, but the brother, you know, so John O'Keefe was the middle sibling, and then the younger brother was the one on the stand. And it was like he was choking back emotion, and it just like he's lost both of his siblings, you know? And
oh,
you can tell they're
goodness.
close. I mean, they vacation together. They rallied as a family to figure out who was going to take care of the kids. And he had two small children, and the single guy, is basically like, hey, I'm going to man up and I'm going to raise these kids. He could have said, I can't do it. My job. I don't have daycare. I don't, a myriad of excuses, but he didn't do that. And they were
Right.
little. They were like 3 and 6. So,
Yeah.
hats off to John O'Keefe for just being a stand-up guy,
Yeah. And so he starts dating this woman,
Yes.
and it's content. It's not all. They have some problems. Like all relationships kind of go through, I guess. But their troubles, like hearing those texts that you were reading,
Mhm.
their problems didn't seem like they were being dealt with in the most adult way possible. It sounded a little high school, to be honest.
It was a lot to read through, and I was like
Yeah.
thinking, I really need to have the context for people, and I hope they don't get like, can she stop reading this? But I really felt like you needed to know kind of where their relationship was at, and definitely the manipulations were really pedestrian. Like, I'm gonna go and have a drink, like to try to make him feel. I mean,
Sure.
it just seems so
And then, but
obvious.
he didn't see. But the fucking guy. I'm sorry, O'Keefe, the deceased, and forgive me for speaking ill of the dead, but he didn't want to commit either until he might not
Mhm.
have a ride home. Well, are you going or not? I'm counting on you for a ride. Jeez,
I
come
know,
on.
but that's why I was really surprised by he was being all like, I thought, oh, this
Might
is when
not
I first
work. And,
started.
yeah,
No, I know. When I first started reading the text, I was like, oh, he's already checked out of this. Like
he's
he's,
checked
and
out,
then
but he
all of a sudden,
wasn't. No,
and then an hour later, he's like, okay, well, are we going to do this or
are
what?
we
I was like,
doing this? Or
what?
come on. Yeah, he liked the drama too. He was also attracted to the drama, and and all of the high school stuff. Like that's kind of what was going on. And so
Because
they
if
go
you
out that.
saw if you hold on one second, because if you
Yeah.
saw the video footage of when they actually met, so she walks in and she's like tossing her hair back, and which is, I'm not making fun of her, I'm just saying like she's ready to be
She's
there
feeling
with
good.
him. She's feeling good, and he's
Yeah.
rubbing her back and getting her a drink. I mean, you would never have guessed that this couple had just had this crazy ass texting altercation with all
Yep.
this drama. I mean, and it's like, she was playing a little like hardball, I think, with the kids, though. I don't know what was going on where, she felt like, but that just seemed to me like that kind of showed her true colors, that you can't make someone choose you
Right.
over their children. You
Yeah,
just can't.
but it was everything. They were blaming their troubles in their relationship, like on everything. Like, well, it's bad when you're around the kids, or we're not great when we're around this other couple, or like all of these. There were all of these conditions on why things weren't working out, but then they wind up together that night anyway. And so there they
Yes.
are. There they are.
By choice. They both
By
wanted it.
choice.
They both wanted it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So they hang out. Then they agree to bar hop, right? They go to another place. That place is closing down.
Mhm.
And so then they just want to keep the party going. So there's an after party at another cop's house, right? So this is where we'll go. And that's where the stories diverge, right? She claims she saw him go into the house. They claim he never came into the house. What everyone agrees on is that he was under a fucking foot of snow, dead the next morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no one knows how to get.
It was absolutely. I mean, it's like I'd heard of the case, but I was like, how does someone end up dead and dying of frostbite in front of somebody's house? And what? Like, it didn't really. It's just a really bizarre set of circumstances, and then all this corruption on top of it. And it's like, I don't know what your thought. I don't know if you want to get into it right now. Like, what do you think happened?
Well, I know what I think happened, and we'll get to it, but I want to go over first what they say happened. So she claims that she's, like I said, that she saw him go in the house. Okay. She saw him go in the house and she didn't go in. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then she fucks off, goes home. Great. Tries calling him. No answer. Okay.
Did she try 53 times?
53 times.
More than, yes.
So then here's what's weird. Here's where her story starts falling apart for me a little bit. Like, there's a blizzard. And she claimed that she went out looking for him, driving around looking for him. Like, why would she go around looking for him outside? Like, that's what I don't understand.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but he didn't have a ride home. And so, he's going to have to get home. And, and it sounds like he was like 10 sheets to the wind when he got there. If he's carrying a cocktail glass inside the house to this after party, he didn't have a coat on. Like, he's not feeling any pain.
Okay. But for all of those, I grew up in a place where it snows a lot in the wintertime. Okay. And no matter how drunk you are, you're never going to think that you could walk home in a snowstorm, because the survival instinct kicks in your brain, and either you won't make that bad decision, or anybody you're with isn't going to let you go. Okay. So for her to say, I was driving around looking for him, the only reason I could come up with that she would do that is if she knew that he was left outside. Okay. Now,
but why would she go driving around his house, which was miles away from the Albert house where this happened?
Right. Maybe she was scared that she didn't finish the job and that he was still alive. I don't know. This is all speculation on my part. But the one thing that really stands out from her. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to add one thing. I think that when people are lost and don't come home, the panic and the fear, where do you look? What do you do? Let me just drive around. Let me just look.
You go to the last place you saw him. I would have made a beeline to the house, the last place I saw him go inside. I wouldn't have started driving around the neighborhood. I'd have said, is he here? Is his phone?
Yeah, and that's what tracks with me too. I agree. Right. I wouldn't be looking around my neighborhood.
No.
I would be looking around the neighborhood.
Maybe after, if he's not there, and if they say he said he was going to walk home, this fucking idiot, then I would start driving around the neighborhood looking for him. But the first place that I would go would be the last place I saw him go inside, and I would call the police also. They meet me there, please. It's a cop's house. I saw him walk in, and now he's not answering the phone, and now I don't know where he is. So that was a little strange. I mean, no, agreed. She was, to your point, sometimes people, when they make weird decisions when they're under stress. Okay, Definitely. Like I get it. Like what my mom's husband collapsed once, and she panicked, and she called me from Jersey in California, and she said, Bob collapsed and he's breathing. I don't know what to do. And I said, Mom, call 911. And she goes, oh, okay. What's that number? It was like It was like a farce. Right?
Yes.
It's like a joke. Yes. She couldn't remember the number for 911. Right.
Well, because these kinds of things the stress. And when somebody's lost and there's been a snowstorm and they're not back, that's not good.
Right. So it can be explained away. I get it.
Yeah.
So then the second thing in her story that's weird is her questioning out loud, did I hit him when they find the body?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like, was she saying, did I just hit him? Like, did I not see him in time? And did I hit him now? Or was she saying, like, earlier tonight, did I hit him and not realize it? Because I saw him there before as I was pulling away.
Well, that's the thing that's maddening about this case, is that it can be interpreted in so many different ways. I mean, see the way I interpret it is that, did I hit him? Did I hit him? Like, oh my gosh, I left him here. Did I hit him? Like, she was, she'd been drinking and she's just going, what that tells me is that she's not already planning some kind of cover story. Like, she's in the moment of like, oh my gosh, I that's how I interpret that. Like, she's not.
Okay. Well, all of that. Sorry, continue, please.
Because if she knew what she'd done and she actually left him to die in the snow, right? Would she come back and say, did I, and she knew that, would she come back and say, did I hit him? Did I hit him? Question mark, question mark. Okay. Like, she would,
My answer to that is no. I don't believe that she would do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, those basically two kind of problems that I have with her story, to be completely honest, get totally washed away when you hear evidence on the other side, okay, for her being set up, in my opinion, okay? Because I don't think there are many things.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I think, here's my general thesis for the next portion of this podcast, is that I don't think there are many things more scary or dangerous than when cops collude to protect other cops.
Absolutely.
Okay? I think that's really fucking dangerous. Hopefully it doesn't happen as much as we all think it does, but it might. So the Google search, how long to die in the cold? Okay.
227?
That's a huge problem. Obviously. That's a huge fucking problem. They try to explain it away. Well, it was after the body was discovered at 6:30, blah, 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 6:45. That's when it happened. But no, there's a paper trail, or there's a digital footprint. There's a digital ghost on the phone that this happened at like fucking 2:30 in the morning. Okay. So that's an issue. Like right there, obviously it's a huge issue. The second thing that I wish you had spent more time on, because for me, it's what buries it. It's what buries it, is that his phone climbed flights of stairs and hers didn't. Okay. Like, that's an issue right there. That means he went into the house, maybe the bathroom's upstairs. He was drinking all night. He went up to use the bathroom like 3 or 4 times. There's the 3 flights of stairs being climbed and descended. They say, oh, it's in the street. Well, she has the same phone, fucko, and her phone didn't register that she climbed and descended 3 flights of stairs. So that's another really, really big problem. And then with the cops colluding with other cops, it was so squirmingly painful. Like, oh gosh, just the hearing that cop on the stand, the vicarious just unease that I felt listening to that guy having to say, that's correct, using vile language to describe this woman, making fun of her, physical ailments. Crohn's disease is no fucking joke. I know people with, oh my gosh, right? It's the last thing you want to joke about, make fun of. And like this 8th grade toilet humor, coming from a police officer talking about like a very, very serious case where someone's, freedom is at stake, and saying that he's got all the evidence within 16 hours of everything. I mean, just that makes me think, like right there when he said, don't worry, it's in a cop's house. Everything will be fucking fine. Like, that's so scary to hear a cop say.
I remember when I first got access to the internet. Of course, I was an adult, but I still had to learn a thing or two, like maybe not the best timing to send an email to someone after having a glass of wine or two. Which is all to say, I didn't grow up with the internet the way today's kids have. I'm Gen X, baby, and I am so grateful for that. But now, having 5 kids over the years with varying access to cell phones, it's always a battle to figure out what the right age is for a kid to get a cell phone, especially if all their friends have one. Because I've learned that you can't control what they're seeing on social media, the music or videos they're looking up, sometimes stumbling into inappropriate content by accident. It's unnerving to think about how a cell phone in a kid's hand could be like opening Pandora's box. Which is why I'm excited about Gab. Gab is the leader in safe smartphones and watches for kids, teens, and tweens. With no social media apps, no internet browser, and GPS tracking. Now, this may sound boring to your kid, but it's really not. Gab phones and watches are still tech kids actually want. There's unlimited talk and text, a clean music streaming app, and over 100 third-party apps that can be installed at parents' discretion. I want to stay connected with my youngest son, who's 10 years old, but I know he's not ready for a full-on cell phone. And so Gab allows both of us to be part of something bigger than ourselves, and here's how. First of all, my son didn't think he was going to get a cell phone until he was 14. And so he was really excited to get his Gab phone in the mail. And I love making him happy and giving him a little bit more responsibility. I genuinely feel better about letting him free range, knowing he can call me at any time. Gab is a real game changer for me and my son, and I can't recommend enough that you give Gab a try. And this is the absolute best time to check them out because right now, Gab is offering $25 off any device to new customers with no contract required. That's $25 off any Gab smartphone or smartwatch. Just go to gab.com/mischief. That's where you'll get the best deal. That's Gab, GABB.com/mischief. Gab.com/mischief.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at Friskies.com or visit your local store.
Learning through play starts with Lego Duplo. With Lego Duplo, toddlers can develop real-life skills while having fun with colorful bricks made just for them. Large, easy to grip, and safe to explore. When children express themselves with Lego Duplo, they build patience, problem-solving, and empathy. See your child learn perseverance and self-expression with everything they imagine and create. Visit lego.com/preschool to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
I know it's absolutely terrifying. And I think that there was so much more that I could have added. I had to stop because it's so crazy. There was even so much more that I couldn't put in there because it was like when I first started it and I went through his interview and I was like, oh, I'm putting this in. Oh, I'm putting this in. And then at the end of it, I was like, I can't keep putting this in. There's just too much, for this one episode. And so, his trying to act like, what was the rush to judgment on this 16 hours in, like that's the most terrifying thing that you have, because there's a standard that prosecutors and police officers and judges, you have the power to put people away, to take their livelihood, to smear their names. Like you better get it right. You better be above reproach. It's a standard that we all, that's what makes us quote unquote trust the system, is that you're going to be given a fair shake. And, regardless of what you think about whether she did it, whether she didn't, if she did it on purpose, if she didn't know, or she didn't do it at all, like their actions and the fact that they've had issues with corruption is.
And then he lied. He lied and said he didn't know anybody involved. And he asked one of the girls to babysit for him. I mean, it
Exactly.
stinks to high heaven. And a couple of points here. So, and I think I already forgot both of them. But but one of the thing is, all right. Well, I used to work at a hotel in Beverly Hills, parking cars, and the local Beverly Hills Police Department. We were on their patrol route, okay, and it would be late at night, like between 10 and like midnight, and cop would roll through and he'd stop in our big driveway and come out and just shoot the shit with us for like 10 or 15 minutes. Great guys, like every cop on that force was a really terrific guy, and a lot of times they would just sit there and my boss would say, hey, anything crazy tonight? And a lot of times the stories would be about stupid pedestrians getting hit by cars because they weren't looking and walking in Rodeo Drive and looking up at shit and they get hit by a car. Unfortunately, it happened quite a bit. And I thought about that while I was listening to this episode because it came up when they're talking about trauma inflicted on victims of pedestrians getting hit by cars. And he had nothing happening below the neck, from the neck down, no blunt force trauma at all. Everything was to his face, right? And that tracks with a couple of freaking Irish thugs from Boston beating the piss out of a guy. Okay, like that's exactly what somebody would look like. Whereas if this person gets hit, like they said, one time it was a 6,000-pound car, one time it was a 7,000-pound car, a 3.5-ton car hitting somebody, you're going to have broken legs, you're going to have a broken hip, you're going to have your arm, like a wider variety of injuries than your face getting messed up like someone beat you up. So that was an issue for me. And the lawyers, I mean, she has great attorneys. She's probably broke, but she has great attorneys.
I loved her attorney. I was like, the way that he said the C word and the F, like it was like
he said it like 15 times to make sure that landed with the jury. It was crazy.
And it did. And it was, and the way he said it, he just was like right there, right there.
He said it like a kid from Southie. Exactly. He said it like a kid from Southie.
I mean, the thing is that if you look at the case and forget the corruption for a second, the Occam's razor theory comes into play, where the easiest answer is the right answer, right? That she had too much to drink and she accidentally hit him with her car. They'd had all these fights and everything, and then drove off, and then he didn't come home and she went back looking, right? Okay. But then you add all these layers of like weird details. I mean, not weird, but just like you can't, witnesses who say one thing and then to a grand jury and then say something else. And the lead investigator who doesn't go to the scene for he's not even there 16 hours. I don't even think he'd been there. He only talks to 3 witnesses, 2 of whom were out in the Albert home. And then, the third was the sister of the Albert, so it's like, how can you even move forward with a case like this? It's so corrupt. And then that's why I ended the episode, will John O'Keefe get justice, no matter what the verdict is,
Right. Well, a point that I made earlier when you asked, did I think that she would adopt this canard of, oh my God, did I hit him? What happened? Right? Like in a way that was disingenuous. And I said, no, I don't think that she would do it. And I stand by that.
Mm-hmm.
Because this type of stressful situation would be new to her. Okay?
Yes.
But for cops, it wouldn't be new to them. Stressful situations where they're surrounded by violence and death and bad guys is their job description. Okay? So motherfuckers like that, I could see coming up with like broken glass and planting that and making it look like this and find out how long till a body fucking dies in the cold. Oh wait, you shouldn't have done that. It's going to look bad. Let's erase that search. Like all of this stuff, but there's shit that was out of their control. Like her phone not registering the change in elevation. There was nothing that they could do about that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So there are other things that were out of their control also. But that, I think, becomes the scenario, according to Occam's razor, that requires the fewest suppositions. The one supposition being, will a cop protect another cop? Yes. Boom. That to me seems so much more fucking likely okay, than
I mean,
a woman who didn't realize she hit someone with a car.
I'm not, I won't go that far to say, will a cop protect another cop? Because I think that there's definitely, I'm not even going to do that whole trope of bad apple. Like, no. There are a lot of bad cops. Okay. Well, I'm just saying, I don't want to paint that brush, but I definitely think in this case, given the history with lack of trust between law enforcement and its citizenry, and that there's a history of just malfeasance going on there, whether it's.
No, I get it. Listen, Carolyn, I know cops. I have cops in my family. I told you about the Beverly Hills cops. Several guys that have worked for me over the years have gone into law enforcement, and I've been character references for them, and I've written letters of recommendation for people who are now currently California Highway Patrol, that are LA County sheriffs, that are Santa Barbara County sheriffs. Okay, so and I got to be honest with you, I've spent a lot of times with those guys when it's just like guy stuff, right? When we're like late at night and the driveway is slow and we're just kind of hanging around. And sure, there were off-color jokes going back and forth, but nothing ever like what was going on in those texts that you heard. Okay. Okay. So what I'm saying is that it takes that not all cops are going to do that, but there are cops that will do that. And it speaks to character of the people. Like, I wouldn't have vouched for these guys to become law enforcement if I didn't know their character and love their character and believe in their character and think that they're going to do good on behalf of the community. Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm just saying that just because you're a cop, I don't think that you're going to do everything you can to protect a bad. I just don't. I know that there's people who don't agree with that, but I don't believe that. I think it comes down to character. And
it comes down to character. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, there are cops that will turn in other cops if they see them break the fucking law, as they should. Yeah. Right. And then there are other cops who believe that thin blue line bullshit, right? Where they're like, no. And they'll cover stuff up and they'll keep bad cops on the street. And that makes it dangerous for everybody.
Yeah. But this kind of a case, no, I completely agree with what you're saying. I just think that this type of a case, it hits you in that spot where you can't help but imagine yourself in Karen Reed's position and be like, oh my gosh, and this corruption. And if she didn't have, if she was a person of color, if she was a marginalized person, like she could be going down for this. And I'm not even saying she's innocent. I'm just saying there's so much proof to show that they did a shoddy investigation, 16 hours in, texting your fucking buddies. I mean, that is so, like, it's hard to believe that he even got that type of a lead investigator position.
It's unprofessional. It's highly suspect. It's a black eye for the department. It's bad all the way around. Now, listen, I should have prefaced all of this by saying I know nothing about the case. All I did was listen to and produce an episode of a podcast that you wrote. So I blame you if I'm wrong about anything. I blame you, Carolyn Osorio, and I absolve myself of all responsibility for anything that I said. I'm kidding, obviously.
Wow.
No,
wow.
I'm kidding.
I think that this case is definitely, like, that's why I want to follow up on it and see what happens. Because I think no matter what happens.
I'm going to look it up when I get off the phone with you. I'm going to look it up. But obviously, my opinion of it is that she's being framed. Okay, is that this cop went in the house, like kind of what you kind of say at the end, that he goes in the house, goes in the basement, shit goes sideways. He's terribly wounded, probably near death, and they stage this accident. Because I think that is well within the capabilities of a police officer to do that. To be able to stage a crime scene and frame a woman that they obviously don't like. They obviously don't like this woman.
I think that what would make the most sense, because it's hard to keep a cover up together. People can't keep secrets.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And people you can't get that, it's, they flip on each other. You put a little bit of pressure. I mean, this would be hard.
Boston's different. Boston's different. No, Boston's different. I mean, there's a lot of sickening loyalty up there. there's shit that these guys will take to the fucking grave. I'm telling you, Boston's different. Boston's different from New York.
Well, and I think
Philly.
you're right, because that's what in one of the commentary shows that I was listening to, one of the people said, like, there's something about Boston, this distrust of police. That's why people have really gone to her side. Because there's this ingrained feeling that the cops are corrupt there, and so not being from that area, obviously I don't know what that. I understand that. And I think that she would have gotten that support whether it was in Boston or if it was in Seattle, based on the witness testimony. But I do think there's a little extra butter in Boston.
I think there is too, and it's an interesting social construct. It'd be interesting to talk about, like, which came first, right? Did the fierce loyalty of Boston cops, is that a function of the Boston crooks being so bad, right? The Boston criminals having this omerta where they will never give anybody up, ever, okay? And so the cops have to adopt that culture, right, to be able to keep the streets safe. I get it. I even agree with that part, right? I mean, the criminals are bad, the cops have to be more bad, maybe. But that's what makes it them different from the criminals. You have to have this higher state. It's kind of like why we don't have this death penalty, where it's like we need to be, societies that are successful, they take care of their most disadvantaged people. Like it's not just good for the people that need the help, but it's also good for society. It's just, it goes all wacko. But I think that, going back full circle, I don't give a shit about the creed. Everybody has to think, if you've been charged of a crime and your life is over basically, and you're getting railroaded, that's a problem. It's not, it's because we trust the system, and it's not, it's just obviously this case really highlights like what a corrupt system could potentially be. Right. And ultimately I think that is the takeaway here, that the preservation of a system that's trusted by the public has to be paramount of all of our kind of concerns, right? We have to trust the system, that it's equal justice under the law, that the cops are there for our good to protect us. Obviously that has to take precedent over anything. And I'm interested to see how it plays out.
I don't know how the prosecution could even move forward on a case like this with all of the issues that they have. I just,
because what if it's not just the cops, right? What if it's the prosecutor? What if it's what if it's the judges? Hey, we got to get this indictment. All right, fine. I'll look the other way. I'll make sure the grand jury indicts. Okay, great. I'll make sure that the prosecutor. Okay, like, how far will you go? How deep will this conspiracy, I guess, go to avoid the truth?
Well, and it sounds like the feds are looking into it. They're looking into it. So we'll see.
Right. Wow. Yeah. All right, well, keep us informed. Keep us informed. Will. And we'll know. But obviously, I really enjoyed this episode. And I love all the audio clips that you got. It really. It added a nice dimension to it, and the audio was of fairly good quality. Also, I didn't have to do too much to it. So, well done. Well, listen, if you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did, please go over to Apple Podcasts and rate us and review us and share the show with your friends. It helps more than you know. And please consider supporting the great companies that support the show, because without them we couldn't do it. So from not quite the ninth circle of hell, but I can see it from here in Phoenix, Arizona.
The sandstorm. Whoa!
Well, the sandstorm has abated, but for some reason I think it's getting hotter as the sun goes down. You, Carolyn, enjoy Phoenix. The Beatles' Cirque du Soleil is totally it's called Love, right?
Yeah, but you're in Phoenix. I'm in Vegas.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying enjoy Vegas.
You said enjoy Phoenix. I was like, wait a second. I didn't sign up for Phoenix. I'm in Vegas, baby.
Enjoy Vegas. Enjoy the Cirque du Soleil with the Beatles. It's totally worth it. My wife and I saw it a couple years ago and loved it. So enjoy. Best of the family. And I will see you next week. You have anything you'd like to add?
No, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
All right, everybody. Stay safe out there. Bye.
Bye.
From Cloud 10, Criminal Mischief is a pie-in-the-sky production recorded in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We're produced by Brandon Morgan and myself. Music by Soundstripe. I'm Carolyn Osorio, your writer and host.